Good day to all of you wonderful viewers out there. Hi, I'm Awesome Joe, and thank you guys so much for taking in the time of your day of watching one of my awesome videos of Awesome Joe's play back-to-back movie reviews. And today we are finally going to watch Marvel's return into the big screen at the movie theaters with Black Widow. Long awaited, not just from when her first appearance occurred back in 2010 in Iron Man 2, but this movie was supposed to be released last year in May 2020, but because of the global pandemic, it was pushed off to a later date, which was, of course, it was supposed to be out in May, but then they moved it to November, and now they moved it to, I think it was March, and now they moved it to July, which is finally here. The entire world had to have that chance, the opportunity to go and watching it. And we finally got it. Me and the missus went ahead and watched this movie. And was I excited for it? Well, I was excited for it because it was a Marvel movie, and I love going to the movie theaters. But was it something that I was really anticipated on getting to wanting to watching this? Not exactly. When I heard that they were doing a movie about this, to be honest with you, I wasn't all on board. I really didn't care for having to watching this movie or having it even necessarily being made. I think that this movie was just only made, and just even after watching the film, I honestly have to agree that this movie was only made just to get fans' approval. To make fans satisfied, giving them what they wanted, and that's what happened. We got it. Well, me on the other hand, I didn't care for it, but I can understand what they're trying to do from my perspective, from the way that I look at it. Because if you look at it at this way, Marvel is going international. They did it with Black Panther within the African culture, and then they are actually working on it with Shang-Chi in the Korean culture, and now they're doing it with Black Widow in the Russian culture. So I can understand if that's what their intentions are into making movies like this, involving the entire world of many different other cultures. So I can understand that. I really do. And since Black Widow is a very favorable character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, not only that, Scarlett Johansson being one of the popular actresses in Hollywood, they feel that this could really bring in some good money, not just for the MCU / Disney, but breaking box office records due to after the pandemic. And believe it or not, yes, they really already have made a lot of money in the box office. I believe, from what I heard, with first night, Thursday night, they made $13 million. That's just one night. And throughout this entire weekend, I believe I heard it was $30 million. That's not bad. That's actually pretty impressive. Unlike all the other films, big blockbuster hits that hit the theaters, like A Quiet Place 2 and Fast 9, I think that they hit what Black Widow did its first night, making it to where it's 13 to 16 million dollars, and that's about it. But this one is like, well, you've already developed this universe. You already have fans. You already have people who are willing to go and watching this movie and are favored to the Black Widow character and to Scarlett Johansson as a popular actress. So you got something going here. Now, the real question is, this movie is directed by Cate Shortland. Not familiar with her work. I looked at all the other films that she's directed before in the past and screenwrited. Not familiar with any of that. I don't really know any of those other projects. But with Black Widow alone, the question that is on everybody's mind is this a good movie? I find that this movie is going to impress a lot of audiences who are fans of this franchise, and finding that this would be a movie that many people would be very okay with. Like they will leave the theater being very satisfied. On my wife, on her perspective, the way that she saw the film, she loved it. She loved it. She loved the movie through and through, from beginning to end. So there's a plus on that. There's a really huge plus, and quite normally she doesn't really like the type of movies that I like. And but when it comes to my opinion, my personal opinion, when it comes to Black Widow, I can't say I love the movie, nor can I say I hate the movie. But if I had to pick one of the two, gun to the head, if I had to pick it, whether if I loved it or hated it, I'm gonna have to say I hated it. Why? I'll let you guys know why. Because the character of Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff, played by Scarlett Johansson, coming back, even though we already know that her character gets killed off at the in the Avengers Endgame movie, after waiting for 11 years to seeing a movie of this character, solo film, we finally get, but yet it has to be within the era of where we know this character is already getting killed off. But is there going to be a future for this character? Is there going to be a future for this world of the Black Widow? In a way, yes, and in a way, no. Because I think that since Scarlett Johansson is one of the popular actresses and being the star of this movie, I find it being a film that's another of the passing of the torch. That's what Marvel's doing right now. They're doing this whole passing of the torch thing. Who's going to be the next this superhero or that superhero? And I don't really like the idea. I don't like the idea of having to passing the torch being the next superhero. If you ask me, I find that if you're going to be passing the torch over to someone, give it to someone who's not going to be that same in particular character as what you were. Say, for example, what we have, one of the very positives of this movie is the character Yelena Belova, which is played by Florence Pugh. And from what I remember with her, she was in that movie Fighting with the Family, and which was a really great movie. I love that movie. Who is particularly set to being the next Black Widow. And I love her accent, the Russian accent that she has in this. I find it to being very impressive. It wasn't annoying. It wasn't anything that got people scratching their heads in a way and how they noticed on how Elizabeth Olsen's accent, Sokovian accent was when she was doing the Sokovian accent in Age of Ultron. I find the accents very impressive. They don't seem to be anything that's forced in. It doesn't feel acted. It doesn't feel like as if that's not their sort of speech. But I do find that the when it comes to the accents are very impressive. I really do feel connected to the fact that these guys are these characters are from Russia. So I really did like the idea. But getting back to the point here is I don't like the whole passing of the torch thing, because they're doing it possibly with the Incredible Hulk, passing it over to She-Hulk, and then you got also with the Hawkeye series passing the torch over to Kate Bishop. And then Thor passing the torch over to Lady Thor, which is Jane Foster, returning, Natalie Portman. And then you got the same thing going on with Iron Man, passing the torch over to Spider-Man. I don't know, they're doing that quite a lot. And then, of course, with Captain America, with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier Disney Plus series, passing the torch over. It's just, like, can't they just be their own individual superheroes and not be the next... the same superhero, you know? It's like how they did it with The Dark Knight Rises, you know? Your Batman is passing the torch over to this character being... It wasn't never supposedly whether this individual was going to be the next Batman or was going to be its own superhero character, Robin. But in a way, they kind of pushed it to where he was going to be the next Batman. So... but you see where I'm coming from here when I'm talking about having to passing this torch. It's like, just be your own superhero character. Don't be that other person character, because then you're just going to be forever living in their shadow. You're never going to be your own individual superhero character, because then there's just going to be a lot of comparisons and saying, oh no, this one was better than this one, or no, this one is better than that one. And it's like, I don't want to do any of that. So if they're going to be doing this whole passing of the torch thing, please do it in a more memorable sort of way of saying the fact that you are your own character, you are your own superhero. But yes, the character Yelena Belova, played by Florence Pugh, is actually one of the very many pluses of this film. Even though I didn't admire the film as much as I would love to have, but I find that being a huge plus. But speaking of huge pluses, this character I like a lot. The Red Guardian, aka Alexei Shostakov, I think that's how you say it. I'm very terrible with the pronunciations. But played by David Harbour. I always thought that David Harbour would have been an excellent Ben Grimm, aka The Thing, for the Fantastic Four. I thought that he would have been a really great casting. But the way that he portrayed this character, the Red Guardian, and oh my god, this is actually the best. The only thing that I love about this movie is this. I really did love his performance in this movie. Phenomenal. Fantastic. I think this guy is really great. You know, we all know him from Stranger Things. We all know him playing Hellboy. The movie was terrible, but I think he did a great portrayal of the Hellboy character. I liked it. But for David Harbour, man, awesome performance in this. And to be honest with you, I really wish I could have seen more of him. I wanted to see more. I mean, to be honest with you, I want to see his actual solo film. I don't really care for the Black Widow movie. I really did not. But when it came to seeing this, the Red Guardian, I want to see a Red Guardian movie. That's what I want to watch. That's what really impressed me. And I cannot wait. If they ever come to a point to where they really want to do this, please, by all means, you have my approval. You have my money to get that ticket, to go and watch it. Not just once, maybe twice, maybe even 3 times, maybe a whole bunch of times. But if the movie would be awesome, if this movie were to come into development, by all means, yes, I will more than happy be in that line on the first opening night, getting that ticket to watching that movie. Can't wait if that were to ever happen. Then you have this other character, Melina Vostokov, played by Rachel Weisz. I find that Rachel Weisz is a brilliant actress. Not a brilliant actress, but I find her to be a really good actress. We all know her from the Mummy franchise, the first and the second one. Of course, she didn't come back in the third one. And she's in so many other movies that I really cannot name off the top of my head. She was in Constantine. And there's so many others that I could possibly think of, but not right off the top of my head. But I always admire Rachel Weisz. I really do admire her performances in all the movies that she's in. She's not terrible. She's not great, but she does have great talent, great acting talents. And her being in this movie, I thought that she was going to be more in the position of what I assumed she would be, but unfortunately she became this other individual in the film. And was I impressed by it? No, not entirely, but I really would have wished that it would have been what I hoped it would have been. Oh, and by the way, I always keep forgetting to mention this in the beginning of my videos, is that these videos do contain spoilers, because I have no time to be doing a non-spoilers review and a spoilers review. So if I happen to blurt out anything that so far I haven't said anything, but if I happen to blurt out anything that is a spoiler to the film, because this movie was just released at the theaters, if you haven't gotten the chance to go and watch it yet, and before I start spoiling the film for you guys, go ahead and turn off this video, or put it on pause. Excuse me for saying, but please put it on pause. Go watch the movie. It's actually on Disney Plus right now on premium access for $30. Is it worth it? No, not really, but I would like it better to go to the movie theaters and check it out, and then come back here and go ahead and listen to what I have to say. And then if you have any questions, comments, complaints, or concerns, go ahead and leave it down in the comment section in the bottom, and let's have an awesome time talking about this movie in regards to the spoilers of this film. Because spoilers are already out there, okay? I'm not going to try and hold my tongue on anything. If I'm going to say something, I'm going to say it. It's my video. So if you guys don't like it, I'm sorry. But like I said, I have a life. I don't have time to be doing a non-spoilers and a spoiler review. So excuse me if I haven't warned you enough and something came out unexpectedly and ruined the entire movie experience for you. So please ignore if I said anything spoilerish in the beginning, and I gave you your fair warning right now. Now we're going to go ahead and move forward and continue talking about this movie when it comes to, you know, spoilerish stuff. So here we go. In the first Avengers movie, they were talking about how Black Widow has enormous red on her ledger, and that is involving of what was mentioned as her killing off Dreykov's daughter. Dreykov is one of the villains of this movie, played by Ray Winstone. And if you're not familiar with Ray Winstone, he's in several movies. Just the top of my head, he did the voice of Beowulf in the Beowulf movie. Then he did Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Not everybody's favorite, but okay with the movie. Noah. I am familiar with Noah. I love Noah. It's a good movie. A lot of people are not favored by it, but I find it to being a really entertaining film. But Ray Winstone, I think that he is the perfect choice to be playing a Russian villain, and I think that he does a great job in this. But he's only in the film a miniature amount of the time. He's only in a small, in particular sequence at the beginning of the film. And then he's at the final fight of the film, the epic climax towards the fight at the end. And that's about it. We don't really get to see several sequences of him, discussing his evil twerking mustache plan or anything like that. I really would have loved to have seen more of him. He got killed off. At the of what happened years ago with Black Widow. Killing him and his daughter, and the thing is that he gets killed off in this movie. But I feel like if his character was a little bit more favored, we probably might get to see more of him in future films. Not necessarily, not really. They have to kill off a bad guy. They can't just keep on keeping bad guys alive. So I think that he's gonna stay alive. I mean, he's gonna be killed off, and then we have somebody who is actually another villain of the film, the Taskmaster. This is the villain that a lot of people were excited for, and I actually like the idea of the Taskmaster. I never got to read any of the comic books. I'm not familiar with the character. I had to do some research on this individual, and Taskmaster is a villain who learns and copies all of the superheroes' fighting techniques, all their tactics, and then he uses them against those heroes, which I think is a really great visualization of a villain character in a superhero storyline. So I like the idea, and I think that it was used very well in this movie. I really wish we could have seen more of him as well, because this film doesn't really show too much villainy going on. You know, it's more dialogue, honestly. It's more dialogue going on in this movie, and that kind of bored me. I wasn't really okay with the whole, you know, the dialogue between these characters. You know, I can understand that they're trying to do some character developing and giving you that little taste of family between these four individual Russian spy characters, being this fake but so-called family. You can really you can actually feel the love between these four characters, feeling like that family unit. It feels very much like what The Incredibles did in the Pixar film. It felt very much like that, and I really do give huge credits for. But when it comes to the villain, the Taskmaster, a lot of people assumed who this individual was going to be. And for me, like I said, spoilers here, but I always thought it would have been Rachel Weisz's character. I think that Rachel Weisz would have played a really great villain in this movie, portraying as the Taskmaster. But her character is like very much the Red Room scientist, and I don't know. I really don't see that much of a future for this character. I don't really see in how this character can be extended into a bigger storyline. I mean, if you ask me, I just think that she could have done a lot better if she were to have been given the story arc of having the reveal of being the villain behind the mask. But instead it was this other character, which happens to be Dreykov's daughter, that was supposedly killed off, but actually reinformed and being this ultimate villain, this ultimate Black Widow villain, played by Olga Kurylenko. When I saw the reveal and saw who this was, she looked very familiar. And so I looked it up, and I'm like, oh my god, that's the girl from Quantum of Solace with Daniel Craig and Oblivion with Tom Cruise, one of my favorite movies. And I'm like, oh, that's right. I'm like, I might remember you. At first I was thinking, is that Monica Bellucci? But no, that's not her. But having to give it a name of an actress like that for that individual character and not getting killed off, for sure, we're gonna see more of you. As to what, I'm not really familiar with, but I'm pretty sure she's gonna be part of the Thunderbolts or something like that, because we do get Valentina, who we all remember from the mini character that was portrayed in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and that happens to pop up at the end credit scene. There's no mid credit scene, but there's an end credit scene. And man, like I said, I had a lot of high hopes for this movie. I really wanted to look at this movie as something that was introducing us into the world of Phase 4. Not so much as what we've already been seeing in the Disney Plus shows, but cinematically introducing us to this new world of what Phase 4 has into development with us. But this storyline takes place in a time period before Infinity War, in between Captain America Civil War and Avengers Infinity War. I didn't care for that time period. If you were going to go someplace within several time period in the past, we never really had any visualization of what happened in between those 5 years that of Infinity War and Endgame. I wanted to see how these characters and what their story arcs would have been, having to dealing with the fade off of the 50% of all existence. I would love to see a time period taking place within that. If Black Widow would have been anywhere, I would have wanted it there. And not to mention too, if there was a Black Widow movie ever brought into development before in the past, it was always mentioned between her and Hawkeye about how they met and how they had this adventure going on in Budapest. And me, myself, and I've heard a lot from other movie critics, is that they would have loved to have seen a movie about that as well. So there's a lot of ideas out there as to what would have been a better Black Widow film. But in particularly, I find that this movie was not it for me. So then you get another one of these characters called Rick Mason, which is played by O.T. Fagbinelli. And this character Mason, I thought that he was going to be like some sort of love interest for Black Widow, but he's just more of that that guy who gives you what you are insisting on getting. You know, you're asking for when it comes to help. You know, sort of in the behind the curtain kind of guy. But there's this little scene that goes on at the beginning of the film when they introduce this character. I'm like thinking, are they gonna kiss? And like, I feel like this guy is gay. He portrays himself like he's gay. So I really couldn't put my finger on him. I couldn't really figure him out. But supposedly, from what I found out by researching, is that this character Rick Mason is apparently related to Phineas Mason, which is actually the character, the Tinkler, I believe it was, in Spider-Man: Homecoming, that invented the weaponry, the alien weaponry for the Vulture. So there was never really any mention of their connection together, and no family relations or anything like that. Supposedly, I just think that because the cinematic world is completely different compared to what the comic books develop themselves as. So, if anything that you were to think of what happens in the comic books are going to be transferred into the cinematic world, you know, it's a whole completely other story. So, just wanted to throw that out there. You know, you can never know as to what's gonna happen. They like to make you scratch your head and try and figure out what it is that they're trying to do next. The beginning of the movie, there's they actually run the credits at the beginning of the film, and Marvel doesn't really have a habit of doing that. Their credits always roll at the ending of the film, but I think that only 2 have done it, bringing credits to the beginning of the movie, which is in Marvel's Phase 1 of The Incredible Hulk and Iron Man 2. I think that there might be another one, but I can't really point it out. But it plays this song called Smells Like Teen, played by Malia J. Not familiar with her work, but the song was pretty catchy. I liked it. It was just giving us a little bit of a feedback as to how Black Widow was developed into the character that we all know today, from this little girl growing up to being Scarlett Johansson's character. So I kind of liked it. It was pretty okay. But I'm still more of play the theme of the movie during the credits at the ending of the film. I like that more better off. But beyond all that, I think that this movie, it has its positives, but it also has its many negatives. Like I said, I wasn't very fond of the dialogue. I think that there should have been more action, something to have caught my attention and say, hey, that was pretty cool. But it didn't really capture me. The only thing that I found very entertaining of watching was the prison break scene. Like I said, David Harbour's performance in the movie was phenomenal. It was the best part of the movie that I loved so much. And Rotten Tomatoes happened to have given this movie an 80%. 80%. I thought it would have been higher due to the fact that people would have wanted to go and watch this and love this movie. But for me, like I said, not very fond of the movie. It has its positives, has its negatives. But I was very debatable as to what percentage I was going to give it. So my final thought on the whole movie, I give it a 52%. Very low rating compared to what Rotten Tomatoes gave it, giving it an 80%. 52% is what I give it. You guys are going to hate me. If you guys love the movie, if you guys are very favorable towards the movie and the character of Black Widow alone, you're going to hate me. Because I don't think that Scarlett Johansson is a good actress. That's just my opinion, okay? It's not marked in stone. It's just my opinion. Scarlett Johansson is not a great actor. Is she hot? Is she very attractive? Yes, of course she is. Yes, but that doesn't make her a good actress. I don't really like it. I really don't like it, and I liked her a lot better being a side character rather than having to be an upfront character, having her own solo film. Nothing with feminism. I have nothing against the fact that she's a woman. Okay, this movie could have been great, and I could have loved it. I love Wonder Woman. I did not like Captain Marvel, the movie, but I love the Captain Marvel character, and I love Brie Larson. So, I'm letting you guys know right now, having this movie, not liking it because of Scarlett Johansson being a woman, has nothing to do with that. So I'm just throwing that out there before you guys start pointing fingers at me and throwing me bad comments in the comment section saying, oh, you just don't like it because you're all against this whole woman thing. Like, no, I'm not. Please, I'm not. I mean, a lot of people didn't even like Wonder Woman 1984, and I actually loved Wonder Woman 1984. Even though it had its flaws as well, too, I still enjoyed the movie. So, but when it comes to the movie Black Widow, that's pretty much my review. And what did you guys think? I know you guys went out and watched it. What did you guys think? If you have any questions, comments, complaints, or concerns, feel free to leave it down in the comment section in the bottom. Let's have an awesome time talking about this movie or any movies that you'd like to talk about in general, because I love to talk about movies, but more importantly, I love to talk about them with you. And don't forget that you can check out some more of my videos. Just look me up on Facebook and on YouTube at Awesome Joe Movie Reviews. Don't forget to click on that like and subscribe button there, you guys. I really do appreciate everybody supporting my channel. It's a huge personal hobby of mine, and I'm very happy and excited to share it amongst all of you wonderful viewers out there. So I'm Awesome Joe, you guys. Keep on living the dream, and as always, stay awesome. Thanks you guys once more again, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. Thank you.